trying to find the way to walk. Lord, I humble myself before thee. I don't want to be lost. I've been taught to search the scriptures and read the word of truth. Like you said, just like you promised, I'll be just like you. How can you hear to believe? Take the time out just to read. You will find that you've been wrong. Jesus is coming.
Good evening, brothers and sisters, and welcome to another edition of the Bible Speak, where we teach you the Word of God by subjects and by titles. My name is Brother Jacob, and I'll be your teacher for this evening. Today, reading for me is Brother Kendall. Today's lesson I'll be teaching is called Jesus, the Beginning and the End. Jesus, the Beginning and the End. Why this particular lesson was put together is because a lot of people don't want to associate Jesus as being in the beginning. I'm talking about being the one that made this the statement as, let us make man in our image after our likeness, brothers and sisters. There's Jesus been around for so long, and you ain't never seen the Father. You have never dealt with the Father. You don't know what he looked like unless Jesus tell you about him. And we're going to show you this very thing in this particular lesson. Let's start us off in Genesis, the first chapter, and verse 1. Genesis 1 and verse 1. Go ahead and read.
In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth.
In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. He did. Skip down to verse 3 and read.
And God said, let there be light. And there was light.
Why does God have to say what he's going to do and then do it? And there was light. Because God is talking to someone, brothers and sisters. Skip down to verse 25 and read.
And God made the beasts of the earth after his kind, and cattle after their kind, and everything that creepeth upon the earth after his kind. And God saw that it was good.
So God made everything, the creeping things, the cattle and everything, and God saw that it was good. Who would have that testimony as looking at God and saying, and saw God being pleased? He didn't say, and God said that it was good. He said, and God saw that it was good. Who was looking at God being pleased with his creation, brothers and sisters? He said it. Go ahead and read.
And God said, let us make man in our image, after our likeness.
Let us make man in our image, after our likeness. Who is God talking to? When you talk about us and our, them, those, they, you're speaking plurally. You're speaking more than one. Let us make man in our image, after our likeness. Go ahead and read.
And let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth.
So he said, let this man have dominion over everything that he created. Go ahead and read.
So God created man in his own image.
So God created man in his own image. He was supposed to create man in our image. But he got selfish and said, I'm going to create man in my own image. Because, brothers and sisters, when you see the word God, God is a uniplural word. God don't just mean one. God is more individuals, and there's only two in the Godhead right now. We'll teach you that. Keep hanging around and keep tuning in to the show. But he said he made man in his own image. Go ahead and read.
In the image of God created he him. Male and female created he them.
So that means even the female was created as man, because she is the female version of man. So let's go into St. John, the first chapter, and let's see if we can get some understanding out of what we just read in Genesis. St. John, the first chapter, and we're going to start reading at verse 1. St. John 1 and 1. Go ahead and read.
In the beginning was the Word.
In the beginning was the Word. Go ahead and read.
And the Word was with God.
And the Word was there with God in the beginning. Go ahead and read.
And the Word was God.
And the Word was God. The Word was in the beginning with God, and the Word was God. So that gives you two gods. That's two gods that was in the beginning now. Skip down to verse 3 and read.
All things were made by him.
All things were made by him. Now, which one of these gods? Was it the one that was in the beginning with God, or was it God? He said all things were made by him. Go ahead and read.
And without him was not anything made that was made.
And without him, there was nothing created. So now we have to get a difference. We got to show which individual or what God is the one that made it, because he said without him, there was not anything made. Skip down to verse 10 and read.
He was in the world, and the world was made by him.
He was in the world, and the world was made by him. So the one that made the world is the one that was in the world. Go ahead and read.
And the world knew him not.
And the world knew him not. Who is this? This is Jesus, brothers and sisters. Because remember, the Father didn't come in the world, but Jesus did. He sent his Son into the world. He was in the world, and the world was made by him. How they didn't know him? Because when he first showed up, they spit in his face. They humiliated him and they rejected him, not knowing that he was the one that even created him. Because without him, there was not anything made. And the one that made everything is the one that came into the world. That's Jesus now. Skip down to verse 18 and read. Pay attention here, brothers and sisters. Go ahead.
No man hath seen God at any time.
No man has seen God at any time. Any time covers all times. If you say, I don't want any trouble, that means you don't want no small problem either. You don't want any time. No man has seen God at any time. Go ahead and read.
The only begotten Son.
The only begotten Son.
Which is in the bosom of the Father. He had declared him.
Oh, he had declared him. The only begotten Son. That's Jesus. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son. He is the only one that declared the Father. That means announced. That's what declare means. He told you what he looked like. He know. He was there with him in the beginning. That's why it makes sense that Jesus is the one that created man, because he created man in God's image, because he's the only one that know what God looked like. He's the only one, brothers and sisters. Jesus. Now let's go to Exodus, the 24th chapter here. Exodus, the 24th chapter. We're looking at Moses and we're looking at the elders. And the Lord told Moses to come on up to the mountain here. Exodus 24, and we're going to start reading at verse 1. 24 and verse 1. Go ahead.
And he said unto Moses, Come up unto the Lord, thou and Aaron, Nadab and Abihu, and 70 of the elders of Israel, and worship ye afar off.
So he told Moses, come on up to the mountain, but don't come by yourself. Bring Aaron, bring his 2 sons, and bring 70 of the elders. 70 of the elders. Come on up to the mountain, and I want you to come there, and I want you to worship afar off. We're going to skip down to verse 9. Verse 9. And read.
Then went up Moses and Aaron, Nadab and Abihu, and 70 of the elders of Israel.
They all went up there. 70 of the elders, Aaron, his 2 sons, Nadab, Abihu, and Moses. They went up to the mountain. And what happened? Go ahead and read.
And they saw the God of Israel.
They saw the God of Israel. Wait a minute. John just said no man has seen God. They saw the God of Israel. Go ahead and read.
And there was under his feet as it were a paved work of sapphire stone.
Oh, he got feet. They saw the God of Israel. So that means he got feet. That's why man is made in God's image. Man got feet too. Go ahead and read.
And as it were the body of heaven in its clearness.
Go ahead.
And upon the nobles of the children of Israel he laid not his hand.
And upon the nobles he didn't lay his hands. So that means he got hands. Man got hands because man is made in the image of God. He didn't lay his hands on them. Go ahead and read.
And they saw God.
And they saw God. Go ahead and read.
And did eat and drink.
And did eat and drink. They saw God. But John just said no man has seen God at any time. So when John said no man has seen God at any time, he was talking about God the Father. Because this God that they're looking at is Jesus, brothers and sisters. A whole lot of people done seen Jesus. A whole lot of people done heard Jesus. They done dealt with Jesus for so long, even from the beginning. And Jesus is going to tell you about out of his own mouth when it come about the Father. Go ahead and read.
And the Lord said unto Moses, Come up to me into the mount, and be there, and I will give thee tables of stone, and a law and commandments which I have written, that thou mayest teach them.
So he said, I'm going to give you laws and commandments, Moses, so you can teach them. This is Jesus that told Moses this. Now let's go into St. John the 5th chapter. St. John the 5th chapter. Because see, you're going to find out that, look, the Lord going to tell you out of his own mouth about the Father. Because you ain't never dealt with nobody but Jesus, and Jesus only. St. John 5 and verse 36. Go ahead and read.
But I have a greater witness than that of John.
Because John was sent as a witness of Jesus. But Jesus said, look, I got a greater witness of John. See, these red words that we're reading, this is supposed to be when Jesus is talking. But in the Old Testament, brothers and sisters, it should be a whole lot of red writing. And I'm going to show you why. He said, look, I have a greater witness than that of John. Go ahead and read.
For the works which the Father hath given me to finish, the same works that I do, bear witness of me, that the Father has sent me.
He said, because look, the same works that I do bear witness of me, that the Father have sent me. Because everything that Jesus said, everything that Jesus did, the prophets had already wrote about it. And then Jesus came and fulfilled every bit of it. So you read in the scriptures what Jesus was going to do, and then you saw him fulfill it when he showed up in the flesh. He said, that bear witness that the Father sent me. Go ahead and read.
And the Father himself which hath sent me,
and the Father himself, which have sent me, go ahead and read,
hath borne witness of me.
He have borne witness of him. That means he said the Father is his witness. Yeah. Go ahead and read.
Ye have neither heard his voice at any time, nor seen his shape.
There's that any time again. You have never heard his voice. The Father, brothers and sisters. That's why John was talking about no man has seen God at any time in St. John 1 and 18. He was talking about the Father. Jesus just told you straight out, you ain't never seen the Father, nor seen his shape at any time. But how can he be his witness if you ain't never heard him? That's just like in a court proceedings. The judge going to say, do you have a witness? Because a witness is going to get up and they're going to confirm the story that you putting on the table. You get up and you say, yeah, I got a witness, but you can't hear him and you ain't see him. Dismissed. Your case going to be dismissed. The judge going to have you judged and check for a psychiatric evaluation because something wrong with you. But see, Jesus is going to let you know. He said, look, the Father is my witness, but you ain't heard him and you ain't seen him at any time. Go ahead and read.
And ye have not his word abiding in you.
You don't have his word abiding in you. He going to clean it up. Go ahead and read.
For whom he hath sent, him ye believe not.
Because whom he hath sent, you don't believe. Because Jesus was sent to bring his word to you. The Father sent everything. He sent them to salvage this world, brothers and sisters, to give man salvation. So if you don't receive what Jesus is telling you out of his mouth, then you ain't receiving the Father. Jesus told you, if you dishonor the Son, you dishonor the Father, because you ain't listening to what Jesus have to bring to you that the Father gave to him. He sent him for this. And Jesus is going, hey, he want to prove his point. Look what he said. Go ahead and read.
Search the scriptures.
Search the scriptures.
For in them ye think ye have eternal life.
For in them you think you have eternal life. You need to go back and look at the scriptures from Genesis to Malachi. In them you think you have eternal life. Go ahead and read.
And they are they which testify of me.
And they are they that testify of the Father? No, they are they that testify of me. They're all talking about Jesus, not the Father, because you ain't never heard the Father. Ain't no man has seen the Father, heard his voice, or seen his shape. Don't even know nothing about him unless the only begotten Son declare him unto you. He have declared him unto you. And if you don't hear what he's bringing to you in the name of the Father and the mission that the Father sent him on, then you don't get nothing. You will not step around Jesus and get to the Father. No. You're in violation. You will not do that. It's impossible. Let's go into Exodus, the 32nd chapter. Exodus, the 32nd chapter. Because we're looking at Moses here. And he's going up there because he's going up to the mountain because he wants to go up there and make an atonement for Israel. Because at this time, Israel had broken the first law that the Lord gave them, and that is, thou shalt have no other gods before me. Israel done made golden calves, and they're worshiping these calves as gods. Exodus 32 and verse 31. Go ahead and read.
And Moses returned unto the Lord and said, this people have sinned a great sin.
This people have sinned a great sin. What they do?
And have made them gods of gold.
They made them gods of gold. This is a great sin. Moses is bringing this to the Lord. This people have committed a great sin, Lord, against you. Go ahead and read.
Yet now, if thou wilt forgive their sin.
Yet now, if you will forgive their sin, Lord, go ahead and read.
And if not, blot me, I pray thee, out of thy book which thou hast written.
He said, but if you don't forgive them, Lord, blot me out of your book which you have written. What book is this that Moses is asking God to blot him out of if he is not going to forgive Israel for sinning against him? Having other gods, serving other gods. What book is this? But look what the Lord's response to Moses was when he said, blot me out your book. Go ahead and read.
And the Lord said unto Moses, whosoever hath sinned against me, him will I blot out of my book.
And the Lord said, him will I blot out my book. He said, Moses, it's impossible for me to blot you out. Only the sinner. That's the one that I'm going to blot out my book. I can't do that. Jesus is that prophet like unto Moses. Because they both had the same similar lifestyle, brothers and sisters. But Jesus is the one that could die for the sin. But hey, Moses can't do it. It was impossible. The Lord said, no, only the sinner would I blot out my book. Yeah. But what is this book that Moses and Jesus is discussing about? Him getting blotted out of. Let's go to Revelation, the 20th chapter and find out. See, this is what people don't want to go. Even ministers, preachers, don't want to go and read Revelation. This is why you don't have no understanding of the scriptures or the law. Because you don't want to deal with both books. The Lord told you to the law and to the testimony. If you speak not according to both of these books, ain't no truth in what you're talking about. Ain't no understanding in it. Revelation 20 and verse 14. Find out what this book is that Moses told him to blot him out of. Go ahead and read.
And death and hell were cast into the lake of fire.
That is a special kind of book. If you can put death and hell in a fire to burn, that's a special kind of fire there. Go ahead and read.
This is the second death.
This is the second death.
And whosoever was not found written in the book of life.
And whosoever was not found written in the book of life.
Was cast into the lake of fire.
Was cast into the lake of fire. He said that's the second death. The second death, brothers and sisters. People don't even know it's a second death. You know why? They don't even want to claim the first death. You know why? Because they keep telling you somebody up in heaven living, smiling down on you. But this is the second death, brothers and sisters. Whosoever was not found written in the book of life was cast into the lake of fire. What book? That same book that Moses was telling the Lord to blot you out of. If you're not found written in the book, you go into the lake of fire. I guess Moses didn't understand what he was asking the Lord, but it was impossible for him to go in there because he was literally asking God to put him in the lake of fire. Because if your name is not found written in the book of life, you go into the fire, according to what we just read, brothers and sisters. And we'll show you that was Jesus that Moses was talking to. That was Jesus that told him, the sinner, whosoever sinned against me, would I blot out my book. Because the Jesus that you heard about, brothers and sisters, is not the Jesus that we're reading about. That's not the Jesus that we're reading about. Let's go to Revelation, the 3rd chapter. Back up to Revelation, the 3rd chapter. Now remember, the red writings is when Jesus is supposed to be talking, right? Revelation 3 and verse 5. 3 and 5. Go ahead and read.
He that overcometh, the same shall be clothed in white raiment.
If you overcome, you'll be clothed in white raiment. Go ahead and read.
And I will not blot out his name out of the book of life.
And I will not blot out his name out of the book of life. This red writing here, this is Jesus. I will not blot out his name. So this is the one that told Moses, what we read back in Exodus said, I will blot out the sinner if he sin against me. He said, if you overcome, I will not blot out your name out of the book of life. Go ahead and read.
But I will confess his name before my Father.
But I will confess his name before my Father. So that let you know that wasn't the Father that Moses was talking to, because the name blotter is the one that said that I will confess. You can't even confess your own name before the Father. Jesus have to do it. Jesus have to do it. That's why he said he is the door. That's why he said he is the shepherd. You cannot come to the Father but by him. Any communication that you need with the Father is going to come through Jesus, and no other way. No other way. Go ahead and read. Did you finish that?
And before his angel.
And before his angel. He said, I'm going to confess my name before my Father and before the angel. And I will not blot your name out of the book if you do the right thing. You got to overcome. Now let's go into St. John, the 5th chapter. St. John, the 5th chapter. See, ain't nobody paying attention to what Jesus is telling you. He telling you all about the Father, but you ain't hearing him. You steady trying to get to the Father, but you ain't listening to what Jesus is saying. That everything that come to you from the Father gonna come through him. 5 and 22. Go ahead and read it.
For the Father judges no man.
The Father judges no man. The Father don't judge nobody. Go ahead and read.
But hath committed all judgment unto the Son.
But have committed all judgment unto the Son. The Father judgeth no man. That confirms again that the one that said he was going to blot the name out of the book, that wasn't the Father. That's the Son, brothers and sisters, because the Father don't judge no man. He wouldn't be talking about blotting your name out. If you don't do judgment, then you don't do anything. But he have committed all judgment unto the Son, brothers and sisters. Skip down to verse 30. Look what Jesus said here.
I can of mine own self do nothing.
I can of my own self do nothing. I don't do nothing by myself. Jesus didn't come, and he even told you he was sent by God. He didn't just up and just decide to come to the world. He was sent. I don't do nothing by myself or on my own. I don't follow my own understanding. I lean against the Father. Go ahead and read.
As I hear, I judge.
As I hear, I judge. As I hear, I judge. So he don't make his own judgment. Whatever the judgment that he hear, that's the judgment that he gonna give. Go ahead and read.
And my judgment is just.
And my judgment is just. It is on time. It is no mistake about it. It is exactly what you got coming. Why is that? Go ahead and read.
Because I seek not mine own will.
Because I don't seek my own will. Who will is it then?
But the will of the Father which hath sent me.
But the will of the Father that sent me. So if Jesus said that you get blotted out the book for sin, the Father have given him the consent to blot you out. It came from the Father. So how you gonna kick against that? How you gonna come against that? I judge as I hear. Jesus didn't do his own thing. It came from the Father. But you ain't keying Jesus. You ain't listening to him. You bring this to people and you constantly read out of the Bible to people the word of God, and only thing they do is just kick against anything that you can read out the book instead of listening and understanding what Jesus is saying to you. That's why the world is in darkness. Now let's go back to Genesis the 15th chapter. We know we're dealing with Jesus all over here because that's what this is about. Jesus the beginning and the end. Genesis the 15th chapter, and we're going to start reading at verse 13. This is Abraham here. Genesis 15 and 13. He dealt with Jesus too. Go ahead and read.
And he said unto Abram, know of a surety that thy seed shall be a stranger in a land that is not theirs.
Because that land is Egypt. And Abraham's seed is Israel, brothers and sisters. That's Egypt that they was down in. Go ahead and read.
And shall serve them. And they shall afflict them 400 years.
And they going to serve him and afflict him 400 years. Read Exodus, the first chapter. You read that Israel was down in Egypt for 400 plus years down there. And the Egyptians was evil in treating them too. Go ahead and read.
And also that nation whom they shall serve.
And also that nation in whom they shall serve. That's the Egyptians now. The Egyptians, that nation in whom they shall serve. Go ahead and read.
Will I judge.
Will I judge. This is not the Father saying this to Abraham. He said, will I judge, because the Father judgeth no man. No man. He have committed all judgment unto the Son. This is the Son saying to Abraham. He's giving Abraham his future and the future of his children, his offspring. He said, well, I judge. Go ahead and read.
And afterwards shall they come out with great substance.
Because after Israel left Egypt, they spoiled the Egyptians, and they came out rich after being served and been put in made as slaves in Egypt. But look what he said. Go ahead and read.
And thou shalt go to thy father in peace.
And you shall go unto your fathers in peace. He's giving Abraham a way outlook of his future. Go ahead and read.
Thou shalt be buried in a good old age.
You're going to be an old man when you buried. Go ahead and read.
But in the fourth generation, they shall come hither again.
But in the fourth generation, and speaking of his seed, they shall come here again. Wherever Abraham is standing, where the Lord is talking to him now, is where his seed is going to come to again. In the fourth generation from Abraham. Go ahead and read.
For the iniquity of the Amorites is not yet full.
For the iniquity or the sins of the Amorites has not come to a full. This is Jesus. So that was Jesus that destroyed the Egyptians. Because he said, I'm going to judge them. And he judged them by killing all the firstborn in the land of Egypt. He drowned Pharaoh's army in the Red Sea. Let all his people get through. Brought flies and frogs all on the Egyptians. Had the locusts come in and eat up all their crops, destroy them down. And then he said, even your seed is going to come in this very place in the fourth generation. Because the iniquity of the Amorites is not yet full. They sin has not come to an end yet. But let's go take a look and see when the Amorites' sin came to an end. Let's go to Amos, the 2nd chapter. We speaking Jesus here, brothers and sisters. Amos 2, and we're going to start reading at verse 9. Amos 2 and 9. Go ahead and read.
Yet destroyed I the Amorites before them.
Yet destroyed I the Amorites before them. Who destroyed the Amorites? The Lord did. He did that. I destroyed the Amorites before them. And he's speaking of Israel. Go ahead and read.
Whose height was like the height of the cedar. And he was strong as the oak. Yet I destroyed his fruit from above and his root from beneath.
I destroyed. That let you know this ain't the Father, because the Father don't do no judgment. He gave it all to the Son. And the Son is going to do whatever judgment that the Father can send him. He said, I destroyed the Amorites from their roots. Even to their fruits, brothers and sisters. What else did he do? Go ahead and read.
And I brought you up from the land of Egypt.
That let you know he's the same one that brought him up from the land of Egypt. That was Jesus. Go ahead and read.
And led you 40 years through the wilderness to possess the land of the Amorites.
Then turned around and destroyed the Amorites. Because he said they sin ain't came to an end, but when it came to an end, he lined it right up. As his people was brought out of Egypt, he destroyed the Amorites and then gave the Amorites land to Israel, his people. Jesus did that. That was Jesus that was back there that split the sea. That was Jesus back there that told Abraham to look, I'm gonna deal with the Amorites at an appointed time. I'm gonna deal with the Egyptians after I bring them on out. I'm gonna judge them. That was Jesus. Let's take a look at that. Let's go into 1 Corinthians, the 10th chapter. Paul told you that. Paul told you that. The people ain't listening. They talk about Paul, talk about his writings, but you're not even listening to Paul. Let's see what Paul said in regards to Jesus, or if that was Jesus that was back there, or that was speaking with Abraham, or dealt with Israel, or destroyed the Amorites. 1 Corinthians 10 and verse 5. Go ahead and read.
Verse 1.
1 Corinthians 10 and verse 1. 10 and 1.
Moreover, brethren, I will not that ye should be ignorant.
How
that all our fathers were under the cloud and all passed through the sea.
He said, I don't want you to be ignorant of this. How all our fathers passed through the sea, brothers and sisters. All were under the clouds. I don't want you to be uninformed about this. I want you to know this and understand. Go ahead and read.
And were all baptized unto Moses in the cloud and in the sea.
Oh, baptized into Moses in the clouds and in the sea. But wait a minute, Moses was in the sea, but Moses wasn't in the cloud. Was he in the cloud?
No, sir.
Because, see, Jesus is that prophet like unto Moses, brothers and sisters. And Paul is letting you know that you had to be subject to Moses, and you had to be subject to the Lord that was up in the cloud. Go ahead and read.
And did all eat the same spiritual meat.
They did all eat the same spiritual meat. That means the same word, brothers and sisters. The same gospel that we're teaching now, that we're hearing, that's the same thing that the fathers and that they all heard too. Go ahead and read.
And did all drink the same spiritual drink.
They all the same spiritual drink. Go ahead and read.
For they drank of the spiritual rock that followed them.
They drank of that spiritual rock that followed them. What rock was following them?
And that rock was Christ.
And that rock was Christ. That rock was Christ. That was Jesus, brothers and sisters. He was not only following Israel, he was leading Israel. And he followed them at a point too, because it said that cloud, brothers and sisters, removed and went behind and stood behind Israel in the midst of them and in the Egyptians, because the Lord started fighting for his people. He was fighting for his people. And then his people, that rock was Christ, brothers and sisters. That was Jesus. And then his people got out of line and he dealt with them. Go ahead and read.
But with many of them, God was not well pleased.
But with many of them, God was not well pleased. Wait a minute. He said that rock was Christ. And then he turned around and said, but with many of them, God was not well pleased. What do you mean? How can he go from Christ to God, brothers and sisters? Go ahead and read.
For they were overthrown in the wilderness.
Oh, they were overthrown in the wilderness. That's how you know he was not pleased with his people, brothers and sisters. Because he also let this people wander around in the wilderness for 40 years. Because he had sinners among them that provoked him all the time to his face. And he was grieved with that generation of people. And so what he said was, I'm going to let you wander around in the wilderness until every last one of you die. And then he only let their children get into the promised land. Only their children only. They were destroyed in the wilderness. That was Jesus that did that. But he said that rock was Christ. But then he said, but with many of them, God was not well pleased. He could have easily said, but with many of them, Christ was not well pleased. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Let's back up to 1 Corinthians, the 3rd chapter. 1 Corinthians 3, and we're going to read one verse here. 3 and verse 23. Go ahead and read it.
And ye are Christ.
And ye are Christ. That's with an S. That's plural. Ye are Christ. Go ahead and read.
And Christ is God.
And Christ is God. Christ is God. So he could have easily said, but with many of them, Christ was not well pleased, because Christ is God. He said that rock was Christ, brothers and sisters. That's why that coincides with what he said, Paul, in 1 Corinthians, the 15th chapter, when he said, Christ the first fruit, and afterwards, they that are Christ at his coming, or they that are gods at his coming. There will be many gods when he comes. There will be many, because God is a uniplural word. It don't mean one. There was two in the beginning. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God, which is Jesus, who we talk about, who we know about. Let's go into St. John, the 16th chapter. St. John, the 16th chapter. Man is not paying attention to Jesus and what he's saying. He told you. He gave you his whole background. When he came, he told you. But nobody's listening to Jesus because they want to limit him. But you limited the very one that has your salvation in his hand. He's the judge. 16 and 28. St. John 16 and 28. Go ahead and read it.
I came forth from the Father.
I came forth from the Father. That's heaven. That's where he came from, because that's where he was at. I came forth from the Father. Go ahead and read.
And am coming to the world.
And I am coming to the world from heaven. Go ahead and read.
Again.
I
leave the world.
Again, I leave the world. Again, I leave the world. Because it's letting you know he was here one. He wasn't here before. But when he came here, he left again. Go ahead and read.
And go to the Father.
And I go to the Father. Where is that? Back to heaven. Yeah. Back to heaven. Even where he is now, brothers and sisters. He telling you that all through the book, all through the scriptures, but they ain't listening to the Lord. Let's go to Hosea, the 5th chapter. He told you through his prophets, but they ain't listening to the prophets. You cannot separate this book, brothers and sisters. Everybody is talking about the same thing. He said they all ate the same spiritual meat, drank the same spiritual drink. And it all had to do with Christ, brothers and sisters. Yeah. Jesus. Hosea, the 5th chapter. And we're going to start reading at verse 14. Hosea 5 and verse 14. 5 and 14. Go ahead and read it.
For I will be unto Ephraim as a lion.
I will be unto Ephraim as a lion. He's talking to Judah. Go ahead and read.
And as a young lion to the house of Judah.
He's letting you know I'm going to send the Babylonians, because the Babylonian kingdom was represented as a lion with eagle's wings, brothers and sisters. So the Lord is letting you know I'm sending the Babylonians among you, because the Lord do his bidding and he do his destruction through man. Yeah. Go ahead and read.
Even I will tear and go away.
I will tear and go away. He's sending the Babylonians, but it's at the request of the Lord that the Babylonians are coming on Judah. I will tear and go away. Go ahead and read.
I will take away, and none shall rescue you.
I will take away, and ain't nobody gonna rescue you. Who can rescue you from God? If God send destruction on you, how can you escape? Ain't no way. There's no way. Not from God. I will tear and I will go away. Go ahead and read.
I will go and return to my place.
I will go and return to my place. I will go and return to. Anytime you return somewhere, brothers and sisters, you was there before. Anytime you have the word re, which is on something, that means you're doing it again. Just like rewind, you're going back to the beginning of the tape. Just like you're going to review, you're viewing something that you have already viewed before. Even the last book in the Bible, brothers and sisters, Revelation got on there because it's revealing to you what you have already read, or what is already in existence. I will go and return to my place. Go ahead and read.
Till they acknowledge their offense.
Till they acknowledge their offense,
and seek my face.
Until they acknowledge their offense and seek my face. What if they don't acknowledge and seek him? Go ahead and read.
In their affliction, they will seek me early.
Oh, in their affliction, they will seek me early. See, the Lord's letting you know I'm going to bring some trouble on you. It's called Jacob's trouble. 3.5 years, great tribulation. You going to look for me then. Oh, Lord, what's going on? And he going to come. Because he only going to stay where he going to return to for a limited time. Until you seek my face, then I'm going to come. This is Jesus we talking about, brothers and sisters. He was here and he left. He was here in the beginning. You won't have only dealt with him and him only. You ain't never seen the Father. Never heard him. Don't know what he looked like. You don't know what's on his mind until Jesus give you his mindset. Jesus only. St. John, the 17th chapter. St. John, the 17th chapter, brothers and sisters. He kept telling you, I was with the Father, but nobody's listening to him. 17 and verse 3. St. John 17 and verse 3. Go ahead and read.
And this is life eternal.
And this is life eternal, brothers and sisters. Pay attention. Go ahead and read.
That they might know thee, the only true God, and Jesus Christ, whom thou hast sent.
That they may know thee, the only true God, and Jesus Christ. You got to have both of them, brothers and sisters. You don't know the Father unless you know Jesus. If you don't reverence Jesus, then you dishonor the Father as well, because you dishonor in both of them. This is life eternal, that you may know God and his Son, the one whom he sent. Go ahead and read.
I have glorified thee on the earth.
Jesus is letting him know. He's praying this to the Father. He said, Father, I have glorified you on earth. He know that his crucifixion is up now. He's getting ready to die. He said, I have glorified you on this earth, Father. Go ahead and read.
I have finished the work which thou gavest me to do.
I finished the works that you gave me to do. Jesus didn't come to do his own thing. He didn't come with his own agenda. He was sent by the Father on a mission, and he came and he took care and did every bit of what the Father told him to do. And his Father's mission was to go and salvage this world, bring salvation back to this man. Our Father, I did it. I done glorified you. I done finished it. Go ahead and read.
And now, O Father.
And now, O Father, look what Jesus is requesting from the Father now. And now, O Father, go ahead and read.
Glorify thou me with thine own self with the glory which I had with thee before the world was.
But before the world was, glorify thou me with the glory that I had with thee. Before the world was? You mean Jesus was around before the world was? Yes. Yes, he was, brothers and sisters. This is what we have been finding out throughout this entire lesson. He has been around so long until it's like been forever. Forever. He didn't just start with Mary. He started in Genesis. He started even before the world was created. He said, give me back that glory which I had before the world was, brothers and sisters. He's asking the Father that. Now let's prove that. Let's go into Proverbs, the 8th chapter. Proverbs, the 8th chapter. New Testament Christians don't know nothing about this here because they don't want to go back and read Proverbs. They want to stay from Matthew to Revelation and tell you everything has been fulfilled, so you don't get no understanding. You don't get a clear picture of what Jesus is talking about. He said I was here. He told you where he come from. He gave you his background. Even told you all his capabilities and what he can do. Proverbs 8 and verse 26, because he was around before the world was created. 8 and 26. Go ahead and read.
While as yet he had not made the earth.
While as yet he had not made the earth. Go ahead and read.
Nor the fields.
Nor the fields.
Nor the highest parts of the dust of the world.
Nor the part. Who made the earth? God did. He made the earth. He made the field. He made the dust of the world. Who would have this testimony as well as he had not made the earth? Who? Who? Couldn't be nobody. Who was around? It ain't Solomon. Remember, he created man from the dust of the world. He said this is before he had made the field and the dust of the world and the earth. Go ahead and read.
When he prepared the heavens, I was there.
When he prepared the heavens, I was there. Jesus let you know I was there. Go ahead and read.
When he set a compass upon the face of the depth. When he established the clouds above. When he strengthened the fountains of the deep.
Oh, he did all this. When he did all this, this is before the earth was created. Go ahead and read.
When he gave to the sea his decree that the water should not pass his commandment.
Oh, he got commandments. He was decreeing everything. He was preparing everything. This is the Father here he talking about. Go ahead and read.
When he appointed the foundations of the earth.
He was appointing everything. He was getting everything together, brothers and sisters. It's just like with the temple that Solomon built. David got all the pieces and everything of the house. He prepared everything, but Solomon is the one that made it happen. The Father decreed. He was preparing. He commanded, and Jesus made it happen. He told the angels, go to work. Because Jesus is letting you know, he said, I was with him. Go ahead and read.
Then I was by him.
Then I was by him. Go ahead and read.
As one brought up with him.
As one brought up with him. Go ahead and read.
And I was daily his delight.
I was daily his delight. That means the one that was creating the world, that's the Father he's talking about. He said he had delight in me. I was daily his delight. Go ahead and read.
Rejoicing always before him.
And I was rejoicing always before him. Being happy at what was going on. Skip down to verse 32 and read.
Now therefore hearken unto me.
Therefore hearken to me now. Listen to me. He didn't say to him, therefore hearken to me. He's talking about the one even before he started creating the world. Even before it all started being prepared and decreed, he said, look, hearken to me, O ye children. Go ahead and read.
For blessed are they that keep my ways.
For blessed are they that keep my ways. He didn't say his ways, but he let you know the one that he's talking about got commandments though. He said when the water should not pass his commandments. He said he got commandments though. But he said you're blessed if you keep my ways though. Go ahead and read.
Hear instruction.
Hear instruction.
And be wise.
And be wise.
And refuse it not.
Don't refuse it. Listen. Do what it is that I'm commanding you and what I'm telling you to do. Why is that? Go ahead and read.
Blessed is the man that heareth me.
Blessed is the man that heareth me. Go ahead and read.
Watching daily at my gates, waiting at the posts of my doors.
Waiting daily at my gates, at the posts of my doors, the doors of my lips. Waiting for me to tell you what's going on. Waiting for me to instruct you. Waiting for me to command you. You're blessed if you hear this and take instruction. Do what it is that I'm telling you. You'll be blessed. Go ahead and read.
For whoso findeth me, findeth life.
Whosoever findeth me, findeth life. We talking about Jesus. That's why he said in St. John 6 and 63, the words that I speak unto you, they are spirit and they are life. Whosoever findeth me, findeth life. Go ahead and read.
And shall obtain favor of the Lord.
And shall obtain favor of the Father. The Father gonna like you if you listen to me. But if you don't listen to the Father, if you don't listen to Jesus, he ain't gonna like you. You ain't blessed either. Because he said, blessed are you if you obey me and take instructions. So the Father ain't gonna have no pleasure in you. That's why Jesus said, me and the Father are one. We don't have no disagreements. We agree on the same thing. Look what Jesus is saying here. Go ahead and read.
But he that sinned against me.
That means he got commandments, because sin is the transgression against the law. But he that sinneth against me, go ahead and read.
Wrongeth his own soul.
Wrongeth his own soul. Go ahead.
All they that hate me.
All that hate me.
Love death.
Want to die. All that hate me got a death wish. Because Jesus said, if you love me, keep my commandments. The opposite of love is hate. So if you don't love him, you don't keep his commandments. And he said, whoso sinneth against me, you wronging your own soul. You bringing damnation to yourself. Guess what? I'm gonna get that just judgment, and I'm gonna blot you out that book. And you're done. And you go to the fire. Be in your best interest to pay attention to Jesus and listen to what he's saying and what he has to offer. Because it's everything that the Father is bringing through Jesus. Let's go to Exodus, the 20th chapter, and show you Jesus' attitude here with his commandments. Exodus 20, and start reading at verse 1. Exodus 20 and 1. Go ahead and read.
And God spake all these words, saying.
And God spake all these words, saying. Now we know which God it is that's doing all this speaking now. We done found that out. This is Jesus here. God spake all these words, saying. Skip down to verse 8 and read.
Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy.
Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. Go ahead and read.
6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work.
6 days shall you labor and do all your work. Go ahead and read.
But the 7th day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God.
But the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord your God. He said, do all your labors for 6 days, but the 7th day is the Sabbath of the Lord your God. What about the 7th day? Go ahead and read.
In it thou shalt not do any work, thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates.
Nobody's to work on that day. Every day can't be the Sabbath day. No, sir. Because he said 6 days do all your labor. You can't not labor for 6 days. You ain't going to be able to make a living. Right. You ain't going to be able to make money. Come on now. All of this. Why? Go ahead and read.
For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth.
Yes, he did.
The sea and all that in them is. And rested the 7th day.
Because he rested. Go ahead and read.
Wherefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it.
He blessed the 7th day and hallowed it. That's the day that he blessed. He didn't bless 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, it's a day we should rejoice in, but he gave you specific instructions for the 7-day Sabbath, brothers and sisters. And that is to do no work on that day. Not the first day, not the 3rd day, 7th day. Numbers the 15th chapter, and show you how sensitive he is about the Sabbath day. Just the Sabbath day. Numbers the 15th chapter, start reading at verse 32. Go ahead and read.
And while the children of Israel were in the wilderness, they found a man that gathered sticks upon the Sabbath day.
A man gathering sticks on the Sabbath day. He ain't supposed to be doing that. Go ahead and read.
And they that found him gathering sticks brought him unto Moses and Aaron and unto all the congregation.
So they brought the man to Moses and Aaron and all the congregation. We found this man gathering sticks on the Sabbath day, Moses. He ain't supposed to be doing that. What they do?
And they put him in war because it was not declared what should be done to him.
So they locked him up in prison because God said thou shalt not, or thou shalt do this, but he never did say what was going to happen to you if you didn't do what he said do, or if you didn't do, or if you did what he told you not to do. So what the Lord said, go ahead and read.
And the Lord said unto Moses, the man shall be surely put to death.
Surely put to death. The last time the Lord put surely on the front of death, we've been dying ever since. When he told Adam, the day you eat of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, that's the day you shall surely die. There ain't no way they can pray for this guy. Right. Go ahead and read.
All the congregation shall stone him with stones without the camp.
All the congregation shall stone him outside the camp. They got to brick him to death. This is from the Lord here. This is Jesus now. The Lord spake all of these words concerning. He spoke all of this. He said, remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. So what they do, go ahead.
And all the congregation brought him without the camp and stoned him with stones. And he died as the Lord commanded Moses.
And he died just like the Lord commanded him. Let's go to Revelation, the 19th chapter. Let's take a look at Jesus' second coming, because he ain't changed. He ain't going to change in the end. He been all the way around in the beginning. He ain't going to change in the end either. Revelation, the 19th chapter. 19 and 11. Go ahead.
And I saw heaven open, and behold, a white horse. And he that sat upon him was called Faithful and True. And in righteousness he doth judge and make war.
He judge and make war. This ain't the Father coming on no white horse now, because the Father judge of no man. He coming to war. Don't people die in wars? He coming to get busy. Go ahead and read.
And his eyes were as a flame of fire. And on his head were many crowns. And he had a name written that no man knew.
He got a crown. He's a king, King of kings and Lord of lords. And he coming with an army. Go ahead and read.
But he himself, and he was clothed with a vesture dipped in blood.
Why he gonna dip his vest in blood? It was a whole lot of blood splattered on him, because he gonna kill so many people. And other scriptures tell you the blood is gonna be so much you can swim in it. Go ahead and read.
And his name is called the Word of God.
That's the Word of God. In the beginning was the Word was with God, the Word was God. All things were created by him. This is Jesus here. This is Jesus. Go ahead and read.
And the armies which were in heaven followed him upon white horses, clothed in fine linen, white and clean.
Because he got an army with him. They going to be doing some devastating killing. He got blood splattered everywhere. That's why his garment got blood on it. Skip down to verse 19. Look at man's reaction. Go ahead and read.
And I saw the beast and the kings of the earth and their armies gathered together to make war against him that sat on the horse and against his army.
Oh, you mean man and his army, the kings of the earth, is going to try to fight against Jesus in his second coming? With all them angels he coming and all the people that meet him in the air in the first resurrection, all immortals, man and his army is going to try to fight. I don't even know why it's called an army, why it's called a fight or a war, because they're going to lose so easy. Let's go into Hebrews, the first chapter. Hebrews 1, and start reading at verse 1. Hebrews 1 and 1. Go ahead.
God, who at sundry times and in divers manners spake in time past unto the fathers by the prophets.
He spoke in so many different ways. Dreams, visions, angels, so many different ways. Go ahead and read.
Hath in these last days spoken unto us by his Son.
But in the last days, these last days, he spoke to us by his Son, Jesus. Go ahead and read.
Whom he hath appointed heir of all things.
He appointed him heir of all things. Go ahead and read.
By whom also he made the world.
By whom also he made the world. By Jesus, the Father made the world. Go ahead and read.
Who being the brightness of his glory and the express image of his person.
He said, when you see me, you see the Father. He's the express image of his person. Go ahead and read.
And upholding all things by the word of his power.
Go ahead.
When he hath by himself purged our sins. Sat down on the right hand of the majesty on high.
Oh, after he purged our sins by dying and resurrecting, he went right back to where he was in heaven and sat right down on the right hand of the Father, where he sits right now to this very minute, brothers and sisters, making intercession for you and me. That's where he is right now, brothers and sisters. Let's go to Psalms 110. Psalms 110. And we're going to start reading at verse 5. 110 and 5. Go ahead and read.
The Lord at thy right hand shall strike through kings in the day of his wrath.
Who is that? He said at his right hand. That's the one that sit on the right hand of majesty. That's Jesus. The Lord at thy right hand is going to strike through kings. That's Jesus in the day of his wrath when he come on that white horse, because them kings and their armies of the earth is going to try to fight against him. That's the day of his wrath. Go ahead and read.
He shall judge among the heathen.
He going to judge among the heathen. This Jesus, the Father, don't judge nobody. Go ahead and read.
He shall fill the places with dead bodies.
He shall fill the places with dead bodies. Jesus is going to kill a whole lot of people. That's why he had his vesture dipped in blood. Whole lot of blood everywhere. Go ahead and read.
He shall wound the heads over many countries.
He going to wound the heads over many countries, because these countries, brothers and sisters, don't want to submit themselves to the Lord's law. They don't want to submit themselves to the Lord's Sabbath day, the seventh day. They don't want to submit themselves to the Lord's feast days. That's why he going to wound the heads over many countries, because he going to kill a whole lot of people. Jesus of the Bible, brothers and sisters. Now let's go to Psalms, the second chapter, and verse 1. Psalms 2 and 1. 2 and 1. Go ahead and read.
Why do the heathen rage?
Why are they raging? Go ahead and read.
And the people imagine a vain thing.
They imagine a vain thing. Things that's not going to benefit them nothing. They got it on their mind. It's not going to benefit them nothing. Go ahead and read.
The kings of the earth set themselves, and the rulers take counsel together against the Lord and against his anointed, saying.
That's what they saying. They taking a counsel against the Lord and his anointed. That's the Father and Jesus. What they saying against them? Go ahead and read.
Let us break their bands asunder and cast away their cords from us.
Let us break their bands asunder. Cast their cords from us. We don't want to be locked in under the Sabbath day. We don't want to keep these commandments. We don't want to deal with none of this law. We want to do our thing. We don't want to deal with that. And what the Lord gonna do with that? Go ahead and read.
He that sitteth in the heavens shall laugh.
He gonna laugh at him. Why he gonna laugh? Go ahead and read.
The Lord shall have them in derision.
Have them in derision, laughing at him white. Because it's just like telling you the little bitty ant took the huge elephant and body slammed him, put him in the headlock, and made him apologize. That's funny, ain't it? That's funny. You know why? Because that's impossible. That's why the Lord gonna be laughing at him. That's impossible for you to try to war against your maker, your own creator. How can you beat him? No way possible. So after the Lord laugh at him, what he gonna do?
And then shall he speak unto them in his wrath and vex them in his sore displeasure.
He gonna speak to them in his wrath and vex them in his sore displeasure. He's so displeased with this man. This man don't want to take instructions from him. He don't want to follow his protocol. Go ahead and read.
Yet have I set my king upon my holy hill of Zion.
Yeah, have I set my hill upon my king upon my holy hill of Zion. That's straight from the Father. And Jesus confirmed it. Go ahead and read.
I will declare the decree.
I will declare the decree. Go ahead and read.
The Lord has said unto me.
The Lord have said to me. Go ahead and read.
Thou art my son. This day have I begotten thee.
This day have I begotten you. He was begotten as his son when he rose from that grave. Go ahead and read.
Ask of me.
Ask of me.
And I shall give thee the heathen for thine inheritance. And the uttermost parts of the earth for thy possession.
That's what you're going to get for possessing the earth. Not heaven. He ain't concerned with taking you to heaven. You're going to get the earth, the nations. Go ahead and read.
Thou shalt break them with a rod of iron. Thou shalt dash them in pieces like a potter's vessel.
You're going to be able to strike through kings too. Break them apart like a potter's vessel. Go ahead and read.
Be wise now, therefore, O ye kings. Be instructed, ye judges of the earth.
Be instructed. You better listen. He said, you blessed if you hear him. Go ahead and read.
Serve the Lord with fear and rejoice with trembling.
Oh, you better. Go ahead and read.
Kiss the Son, lest he be angry.
Kiss the Son, lest he be angry. Go ahead and read.
And ye perish from the way. When his wrath is kindled but a little.
When he just mad just a little bit. Go ahead and read.
Blessed are all they that put their trust in him.
Blessed are all they that put their trust in him. Let's go to Isaiah the 50th chapter. See, when Jesus got here, he told you where he was, what he was. He told you his capability. He showed you his power. He told you what he can do. His capabilities. But they ain't hearing Jesus. To their own destruction. Isaiah 50 and verse 2. Isaiah 50 and start reading at verse 2. The Lord let you know who sent him. He let you know the power that he possessed. But they don't hear him. He even told his apostles that he was going to raise from the grave. That went right past him. Isaiah 50 and 2. Go ahead and read.
Wherefore when I came, was there no man?
There was a man because he created them from the dust of the ground. Go ahead and read.
When I called, was there none to answer?
Some answered, some didn't. Go ahead and read.
Is my hand shortened at all that it cannot redeem?
I can redeem. He's letting you know I can redeem. Go ahead and read.
Or have I no power to deliver?
Or have I no power to deliver? I can do that. If I can create a world, I can do all that. Redeem and deliver. Go ahead and read.
Behold, at my rebuke I dry up sea.
At my rebuke I can dry sea up in an instant. Go ahead and read.
I make the rivers a wilderness. Their fish stinketh, because there is no water, and dieth for thirst.
I can dry up a river and all the fish is gonna die in there, and it's gonna stink because ain't no water in there. I can do that. Go ahead and read.
I clothe the heavens with blackness.
I clothe heaven with blackness. Darkness was before God had even created light. Go ahead and read.
And I make sackcloth their covering.
I make sackcloth their covering. I'm one responsible for darkness. The Lord came down on the mountain and Sinai and darkness and thick darkness, brothers and sisters. He's responsible for that. Go ahead and read.
The Lord God hath given me the tongue of the learned.
The Lord gave him the tongue of the learned. Wait a minute. He can drop a sea. He can redeem. He can save. What do he need from God? He said, God have given him the tongue of the learned. What for? Go ahead and read.
That I should know how to speak a word in season to him that is weary.
That I can speak a word to him that is weary. Go ahead and read.
He wakeneth morning by morning. He wakeneth mine ear to hear as the learned.
He wakeneth my ear to hear as the learned, brothers and sisters. Jesus is letting you know that he have always submitted himself to the word and to the Father, brothers and sisters. That he's always obedient and he do what he's being instructed to do, even though he got the power that he possessed. That's the thing. Jesus was telling you this all over the book, all through his prophets. Even when he got here in the flesh, he told you, I was sent. I was sent. He told Pilate, I can pray to the Father and he will send me 12 legions of angels. But this is not my kingdom. Because if it was, my servants would fight. I got power. I can make it happen. He gave me the tongue of the learned that I may know how to speak a word in season. Go ahead and read.
The Lord God hath opened mine ear.
He opened my ear. Go ahead and read.
And I was not rebellious, neither turned away back.
I wasn't hard-headed. I wasn't stiff-necked to what he instructed me to do. And see, Jesus came to show you that same example, and we are supposed to follow the same example. Be instructed. Be instructed by Jesus, because that's where your instructions are going to come from. Go ahead and read.
I gave my back to the smiters.
I gave my back to the smiters. They didn't just jump on me. I allowed this to happen. Go ahead and read.
And my cheeks to them that plucked off the hair.
And my cheeks to them that plucked off the hair. Jesus is letting you know, I'm the one that allowed this man to do. Even though I created this man, I'm the one that allowed the same man that I create to beat me, to spit on me, to pluck the hairs off my beard, spit in my face and humiliate me, despise me, hate me, and even blaspheme the name that I came in, which is my Father's name, which is the name which is above every name. And that's Jesus, the only name that you can be saved by. I allowed this to happen to me. I got power because it's been my power all along from the beginning. You don't know nothing about the Father. Did you finish that?
One more.
Go ahead.
I hid not my face from shame and spitting.
I hid not my face from shame and spitting. I put my face out there. I allowed them to spit on me. I allowed them to do all this to me. See, people think the Jesus that you heard about, brothers and sisters, is not the one that you read about. Paul told you about another Christ in 2 Corinthians, the 11th chapter. He said they bring you another spirit or another gospel or another Christ that you ain't never heard of. You may well bear with them because they trying to take your life. We putting on the table Jesus all the way from the beginning to show you, and he said he do not change. This is why he have killed from the beginning of time. He's the one that drowned the earth in Noah's day. Saved only 8 people. And he is the one that's going to come on that white horse. And he is the one that's going to come and a battle of Armageddon, and all them nations going to be gathered together to try to fight against him, and he going to kill every last one of them, brothers and sisters. Every last one of them. He's the one. He's the one that's going to raise the dead. It's all, Jesus, when he rose from the grave, he said, all power in heaven and earth has been given into my hands. That's why he said, this day hath the Lord begotten me, because when he rose from that grave, that's when he was God again. Even though he was God, he put off his godhood, became man, became flesh, and let flesh beat him. Let flesh crucify him. He allowed it all to happen. And let's go to Revelation, the 22nd chapter, because he's been around for so long, forever. 22, and we're going to start reading at verse 12. Revelation 22 and verse 12. Go ahead and read it.
And behold, I come quickly.
And behold, I come quickly. He's coming quick. It may not seem as quick as a lot of people think. And a lot of them think that the Lord done delayed his coming. But when you start doing that, the Lord don't come and find you not doing his will. I come quickly. Go ahead and read.
And my reward is with me.
And my reward is with me. Go ahead and read.
To give every man according as his work shall be.
To give every man according as his work shall be. That means everybody got work to do. Everybody got work to do. So who's saved? If we all got work, you hear people talking about, well, I'm saved. Or since I got saved, I'm thinking like, well, you ain't got no more work? You ain't got no more work? Go ahead and read.
I am Alpha and Omega.
I'm Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end. Go ahead and read.
The beginning and the end.
The beginning and the end for English. Go ahead and read.
The first and the last.
The first God that you have ever dealt with, brothers and sisters. I'm the first God that you have ever heard. I'm the last God that you will ever hear. And I'll be the last God that you will ever deal with. And by the time you get to the Father, brothers and sisters, man will not even exist. Jesus said, I'm the beginning and the end. I hope somebody can receive that, brothers and sisters. Thank you for tuning in.